Alright, after grinding Destiny 2 for around a month now, I think it is time for a quick summary on my starting experience and what I did so far, I guess. I kinda wanted to make that video like 2 weeks ago, but I didn't really get to it. I just rather played all day long instead of making that video. But yeah, now I have a little bit more time. I've done a lot now and I don't know, I think it's time for just a little break, or at least enough time to make a video in between. So I will try to describe my experience with the game when I came back as good as I can. And yes, I said when I came back, that means I already played Destiny 2 before. And that was actually at launch, because yeah, I played Destiny when it came out for, I don't remember how long, not as active as now obviously, but I played until the first raid. I did the first raid once or twice, I think, and then I basically stopped and went back to Division. But let me explain why I even came back to Destiny now. A little bit over a month ago, the first DLC for Division 2 came out. And as you maybe know, I've played that one for about 4 hours, and then I was done with it. Because that's all the content that this DLC had to offer. So yeah, that was quite disappointing. But Division is not the topic of the video. But yeah, I kinda wanted to say that before I go to Destiny, because that was the reason for me to start playing Destiny. There was just nothing else to do in Division. That was kinda the point where I realized, yeah, I need a new game to play. And me and my friends, we wanted to try Destiny again. We've heard that with Shadowkeep they are changing the armor a bit, giving it more stats, which I know now is true. They are changing the armor. But if you're a more experienced Destiny player, then you already know that they are not giving the armor more stats really. They're just changing a few perks into mods that you can put on armor. It's definitely more customization, but I wouldn't really say they are adding new stats. When we came back to the game, we didn't know about all that, because all that information is kinda new. We just knew they are changing it, and yeah, that kinda got me a little bit, I wouldn't say hyped, but I was definitely looking at Destiny as a possible game to play. As I said earlier, I already played the game when it launched, and from back then I had all 3 characters, all 3 different classes, on level 20 with 300 light already. I first started playing with Marco Style and Ilgnim.
Oh, I got my super again.
And I decided to play with my Hunter first. I always liked the Hunter the most, I think, and I still do kinda, even though Warlock is the strongest right now. We all bought the Forsaken DLC, and with that we got a booster for the character, which basically puts it to level 30 and 320 light, I think. And that way we could play the Forsaken campaign, which was really good and fun, even though we couldn't take the story too serious, so we skipped most of the cutscenes. So after I finished the Forsaken storyline, which took me and my team, don't let me lie, I think about 6 to 7 hours, which looking at it now is quite a long time. And I did it a few days ago with my Titan, and it was, I think, 3.5 hours overall. So yeah, that's that. Anyways, after that I was first flooded with tons of pursuits and all the content I missed since I left the game. I didn't record or stream any of that, since I looked up some guides for things I just didn't understand, which was a lot in the beginning. And yeah, I just wanted to go through the game with my own pace. That's why I did a lot of stuff solo as well. I started doing the 2 other DLCs that I missed, Curse of Osiris and Warmind. And in Warmind I also did the 2 exotic quests, and I gotta say, they were quite lengthy and to be honest, not the most fun to do either. I realized later that not all of the exotic quests are that long, but yeah, the Polaris Lands and Sleeper Simulant are 2 pretty long exotic quests, I think. But over the time till now, I basically got every available exotic gun that you can get from quests, except the Legend of Acreus. As you can see, I got most of the guns either by RNG or by doing all the quests. A good amount of those is from back then, when I played the game a lot more though. And yeah, I think back then I got most of the exotics that you could get to that point, except 1 or 2 armor pieces. But gun-wise, I think I got nearly everything. So basically 90% of the exotics that you could get when the game launched are from back then and not from the last month. One of the other things I did after finishing Forsaken was instantly unlocking the Menagerie with that questline. At that point, when I unlocked it, you could still open that chest multiple times. But, well, it was Sunday and the patch to fix that came out on Tuesday. So I sadly couldn't do it as much as I wanted to, simply because I didn't have the runes for it. Right now, as you can imagine, I've got my chalice fully upgraded, and that took me about 2 weeks. I am not playing the Menagerie as active anymore, since I've got a pretty decent Waking Vigil for PvP, I got a decent Beloved for PvP, and yeah, I don't really need much more from it, so yeah, I'm not doing it too active anymore. About 1 week into the game, we did our first raid, which was Scourge of the Past. Still don't have Anarchy, by the way. We wanted to do all the raids, but we challenged ourselves to do them all blind. We did all of the raids except Scourge of the Past and Eater of Worlds, which we didn't do it all yet, with a player called Glad from Redeem. You maybe know him since he's quite big in the Destiny community. He never helped us with any of the mechanics though, he just stood there and then did some damage to the boss.
Yeah, right, and then bottom.
Yeah, so let's all just...
After doing all the raids except Eater of Worlds, I can say that basically all of them are really good. Some were better than others, and Last Wish is obviously outstanding as one of the best PvE experiences I ever had in a game. After the Last Wish raid, which was the second one we did, me and my team went for the Recluse, or as Witz calls it, the RECLUSE. And I gotta say, doing competitive PvP for like 7 hours with not the best loadouts, even with a 4-stack, it wasn't very fun. I will talk about the PvP a little bit more very soon, but yeah, for comp, me and my team were happy to be done with that. I started playing a lot more solo again and quickly realized that I couldn't do certain things solo at this time. For example, I tried to do solo Shattered Fawn, the dungeon in this game, which if you have never done it before and you don't have the best loadout either, yeah, it is a challenge. So I tried that for about an hour and then just gave up. I also tried some solo Nightfalls, had to do that for a few quests, but I couldn't quite do it. I just wasn't good enough at the game and didn't have the right guns for it. Right now I can solo the Nightfalls if I'm trying at least. If I take my time and try, then I can do it, but back then I couldn't really do it. So being forced to play without my teammates a lot, I also did the full Black Armory questline, which wasn't the most fun to me, but well, I did it anyways. As I got more guns and better gear, I also got more into the PvP and had a lot more fun in it than the first 1.5 to 2 weeks playing it. When I initially came back to the game's PvP, I thought I won't touch it much, besides for the pinnacle weapons. I just prefer skill-based games, and Destiny just isn't that. It has some sort of skill to it, but with all the heavy ammo throughout the game and the unbelievable amount of supers, it is still not the most fun PvP experience I can imagine. But I can definitely enjoy it much more now than 3 weeks ago. I even started playing solo comp recently, just for the fun and to get a little bit better. My favorite loadout, in case you're interested, would be Military Night Stalker with Chaperone and the Energy Hand Cannon. The only PvP mode I couldn't really get into was Iron Banner. I just didn't like it, but again I did it anyways and I got a decent swarm of the Raven eventually. Now to Gambit, and that will be a quick one. I don't enjoy Gambit at all and I only do it once a week to get the powerful reward. To me the game mode is just a mess and not enjoyable, it definitely needs a rework. Oh my god! Oh my god, hell yeah boys! Woo! Moving on quickly, I wanted to talk about the more challenging content I did so far. Besides the raid, I tried to do Heroic Menagerie as Freeman, which went alright till we met the Ogre boss. If you play the game, you hopefully know which boss I'm talking about, and well, we got killed in a well of radiance and didn't try it again after it. Other than that, we did some Nightfalls on a higher modifier to get 200k score, which wasn't too hard, and I also did Shattered Fawn 2-man, and I guess that's one of the harder things you can do, even though, as long as you play careful and take your time, it isn't that hard either. I basically did every activity in the game besides the Eater of World raid, and some of the other raids on prestige difficulty. And that is a summary of some of the things I did since I started playing the game again. I obviously did much more, but mentioning everything would just take too long. Right now, I'm getting my third character to max light level, and I'm trying to challenge myself with some of the triumphs in the game, and by soloing content that isn't supposed to be soloed. That kind of stuff is still quite hard for me, since I don't have one of the most powerful meta weapons, the mountaintop. I will go for that one after they make the quest easier, or let's be honest, less annoying. As I mentioned earlier, I also do a lot more PvP now, especially comp solo, and yeah, there is also a way to challenge myself, and as long as I'm having fun, I'm gonna continue with that. Next season I will probably also go for the legend rank. This season I will definitely not go for it, because the queue times are already getting way too long at around 3000 glory, so yeah, no thanks. But the grind is slowly going down a bit now, after a full month of actively playing about 8 to 10 hours a day. And that's where I am right now. I got 3 characters on level 50, 2 of them at max light level, and my hunter is getting closer to have all available exotics. I will stick to the game, and I'm really looking forward to Shadowkeep and the future of Destiny in general. I will probably start making some basic guides after the launch of Shadowkeep, since that's something I like to do, and I will also upload some PvP gameplay in the future. Probably no highly edited montages, but yeah, just some highlights I guess. With all that said, thanks for watching, have a great day, and see ya in my next video. Bye!